Hello, wargamers, game designers, and map makers. Today I wanted to share with you some of the features and upgrades to the Advanced Map Designer app coming on Friday, August the 14th. All right, let's jump into what's new in the Advanced Map Designer version 31. One of the most user-requested features was the ability to add your own symbols into a library so that you could use your own types of map symbols and icons in your own design. We started doing that work a couple of weeks ago, actually, and we finally have it where we can present it to you on this new version 31, and it's going to be limited to about 12 slots or 12 symbols for the moment. So let me show you how that works. All you have to do is go into your symbols checkbox here on the left panel, and now you're going to see under symbol type here, you're going to see app and user. App is going to be everything that the Advanced Map Designer program comes preloaded, all the symbols that we add to the app, and then user will be all the symbols or icons that you add up to 12. In this case, we show that we have a little British one here that we've already added to show you how that works. And basically, you're going to hit upload symbol, find the symbol that you want, and upload it. Now, a word of caution on here, these symbols work best if they're SVG vector files. And then once you have these loaded, all you have to do is click on it, just like you do on a regular symbol, and then go somewhere and just click on the map. And then from there, you can shift scroll wheel to make that larger. You can also control scroll wheel to make it rotate. All the same functions that you have in our regular symbols library. Our next feature is the ability to resize to fit and stretch to fit any coastline mask, image trace overlays, or the finishing overlays. Now this is going to be found in the overlay tab, and that opens up this whole area here on the left panel. Here we go, and as you can see, we have a little bit of an edge at the top and the bottom. And we want to be able to fill this map area with this map. We don't want to have anything on the top, bottom, or left and right. A couple of ways we can do this. Of course, we can manually go ahead and come to the scaling button here, and basically that's going to stretch it out. So we have a new button here called Resize to Fit. When you do that, it scales it up and keeps it all centered. Now there is a problem with this. With this feature, as you scale up, you can see that we lost some of this area here on the right side and some of the area on the left side. Of course, we can manually go back, re-render this map, and kind of go back and forth. That would just take too long. We are so close, 1 hex apart from the top and bottom. Just click on Stretch to Fit. And now the map has stretched a little bit, but it gives you the ability to dive right in and create your map, and it still looks great. This feature, of course, also works for image trace overlay here. We can see the resize to fit, stretch to fit, and also with the finishing overlay, seeing the resize to fit and stretch to fit. So no matter how big or how small those files are, you can always go in here and stretch them to make them work for your map size. And while we're here, I wanted to also tell you that we kind of redid the, not just the scaling here, but also the left and right and up and down. So now you can do it here on the keyboard, and it's a little more intuitive. This is going up, this is going down. And we've also done it so everything is now keyboard functional. So you can just go to your up, down, left and right arrows and use those as well. And it will actually move the map a little bit faster. We have now added quite a few interesting features for our routes. That means any road and trail, any railroad, and also for our rivers, including gullies, ditches, trenches, creeks, all of that. And what that is basically allowing you to insert more control points on the spline. Let me show you what that looks like. So now what you do is you go over to the Tools tab here at the top, and then you click on Edit. Now, when you hit edit, any spline here, any road, any railroad, any river and creek that you click on is going to create these little edit points along the way. And this is what that looks like. So all of these little edit points can be used to move this particular road anywhere within the hex, for example. Works really well with rivers if you need to kind of change the direction of the river. Now, before this was already in place, but what would happen is that as soon as you dragged one of these little spline points, one of these edit points, it would redraw the river all over again. And sometimes you don't want that. Like the rest of the river might be drawn just perfectly. You just want to make sure that this gets a little bit closer over to the hex side. So now you can just grab that and move it over, and it leaves the rest of the river intact without having to change anything. Now, along this, we thought, hey, it would be really great to be able to add more of these splines along the way. So if you have a river, let me see if I can find one. If you have a river that, let me just go ahead and show you here. If you have a river that has a long gap between two edit points and you're like, you know, I would like another edit point in here, you just hover your mouse over that river, or it could be a road as well, any of the routes, and double click it, and what you'll get is a new edit point. Now you can grab that edit point and move it, and voila, just like that. But we are not done there with these spline points. One of the things we did is, let me show you this on this particular road here. As you can see, there's a little bit, like a little nub of the road sticking out. They didn't quite connect here. And so to fix that, now what we can do is we can, first of all, click on this road and fix it a little bit here so it's not moving out. Now, when we grab this endpoint and move it over, it's going to give you this green target, right? And what it is that is the snap point to the other road that it's intersecting. So it moves over, you can then plop it, and no more little nub. Perfect. It also works great with rivers, whereas if you were trying to draw or move another river, it wasn't snapping into the edges, and then it was kind of looking like it was overlapping. You can now fix that, and it works pretty well in real time. Now, speaking of rivers and creeks and roads, we've added a new feature that is going to allow us to create a ford, especially useful for a small creek, or if you want to show an area where you can cross the river without a bridge. Now, for this, it requires a road to intersect the river. Now, of course, if you have this turned on, it's going to create a bridge over that river, and that's fine most of the time, but now you want to make sure that instead of a bridge you have a ford. And so what you do is you head on over back to the edit function here, and you do a shift left mouse button, basically click on that bridge, and it turns into, right now, into a trail, which is our way of showing that it's a ford. Eventually, we're going to add more graphics here to give you the ability to designate a different type of graphics for a ford, but we thought that this was sufficient to show on a map that it is not a bridge and it's only a way to ford the river or the creek. We've also added 3 more overlays to the terrain panel. And what are these? They're at the very bottom: solid overlay 1, solid overlay 2, and solid overlay 3. They work similar, but a little bit different. The solid overlay 1 is kind of blue colored here. Will help you remember what that is. And if you have an area, a coastline area, for example, that you want to designate as a playable area of the coastline, maybe it's just the coast, maybe it's a little island or something like that, you can click that overlay on, and it will provide a color overlay only on that area of the hex. And that allows you to then, in your rules, you will have to properly designate and explain what that does. Overlay 2 and overlay 3 are kind of similar, but what we found was that we were drawing different tree patterns and things like that. Sometimes we also wanted to have some sort of overlay that covers that entire hex. And so these overlays, by default, they're actually hard coded to cover the entire hex, not an irregular shape or anything like that. And so now you can designate overlay 2 is green in default color for a wooded area, for example, and then you can add trees. And then the brown, we put that on there in case you wanted to designate, for example, a town or an improvement area on the map. So just to give you a little more of a choice and the ability to change up your map any way you want. All right, and of course, as always, there's a bunch of different bug fixes and UI improvements and enhancements to make the map making a little easier and faster for you. So now I'm just going to give you kind of a quick overview of last week's update, version 30. Now we had a few new symbols. Actually, we ended up including 9 more symbols, mostly forts. We have this fort bastion, a medieval fort, a medieval castle and towers. All of these are in here. And we also have this dam that we added on here. A lot of this came from users just like you requesting different types of symbols and different types of improvements to the app. And as always, we listen and we want to give you the tools to help you make better maps. Another great feature that we added is the ability to draw double railroad lines. So if we hop over to the route area here and we designate a railroad, as soon as you do that, it's going to have this little box that says double tracks off. By default, you only can draw 1 set of tracks, or if you turn it on, it will draw 2 sets of tracks. And this is basically what it looks like. This is probably going to be a feature used more for a tactical level or squad level type of game, but we thought we would include it here anyways and let you kind of play around with that. Right below that, you'll notice that there's a track spacing, so you can actually space out the railroads differently. And even after you've placed them, you can move these around. All right, moving back to our symbols library, what we've done is we've added city blocks symbols to automatically detect and align to the roads that you may have on a map already drawn out. Now, this kind of works similar to the brush tool, but it is a little bit different because it allows you a little more flexibility on rotating and resizing buildings and so forth. Let's say you have a set of roads already drawn on the map and you want to fill in an area as a little city block area, for example. Go over to city blocks symbol, and now as you click along the roadway, your procedurally generated buildings will click and line up to the roadway. Now, if you don't want them to line up, align, all you have to do is do Alt and left mouse button, and now it'll draw kind of freely in the area. So you can fill up an entire area, several hexes, with all these little buildings. Now let me show you the difference between this and our brush tool. You can go over to brush tools and go to the roadside buildings, and now as you click on the road, it's going to draw buildings out. One more thing you're going to see here under our symbols is that we've added a 3rd color choice. So with the city capital symbol, we have a black circle with a white star in it. And if we wanted to change those colors, we would only have 2 colors in the past. And so now we're able to do an interior color, an exterior color, and then an outline as before. Well, that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover here. I've already gone longer than I wanted to. Wanted to thank all our users that are subscribed and all the users that are checking out our new apps. We're not just a map making service here. Obviously, we're providing counter designs, and we're also in the process of developing a new another new app which is going to allow you to do player aid cards and charts and things like that. So thank you everyone for your support. Thank you all the users that have sent requests, bug reports, and feature requests that you need. We're listening to you, and we do these updates at least once a week. Thank you again. We'll catch you on the next one.